Welcome to Money First CEO, the podcast for business owners ready to run their business like a boss and make their money work smarter, not harder. I'm Harman Johnston, bookkeeper, Profit First professional, business coach, and mum of two from Sydney, Australia. I've built a thriving business by mastering money habits and systems that create real freedom. This show will help you take control of your finances so you can build a business and life that truly works for you. Every episode delivers one powerful takeaway you can action right away for more clarity, confidence, and cash. And from time to time, I'll be joined by special guests, fellow entrepreneurs, experts, and real business owners, sharing their money wins, lessons, and insights to inspire your next move. Because when you put money first, you unlock the options and freedom you deserve. So hit follow, grab your coffee, and let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome back to the Money First CEO, where we believe if you put your money first, the rest will follow. I'm Harman Johnston, and today's episode is a bit of a truth bomb. Stop chasing growth and start building stability. Because we've been sold this narrative that growth equals success. More revenue, more followers, more offers, more hustle means you're successful. But here's a real question. Is your business actually healthy, or is it just busy? And if your revenue is growing, but your peace is shrinking, it's time to reset your strategy. So first, I'm going to talk about the danger of chasing revenue without a strategy and what happens when we chase growth at all costs. You've seen it, or maybe even lived it. I know I have. You hit a 10K month, but have no profit. You scale too fast, and then you're scrambling to fulfill. You launch a new offer because you need cash desperately, or to reach the monthly revenue goal, not because you're ready. And here's the problem. Revenue without structure is chaos. And scaling a shaky system tends to break it. So I had a client, Melissa, and she went from growing her business from doing 5K a month to 20K a month in 6 months. Sounds amazing, but her expenses ballooned. She was hiring fast, she was automating. By month 7, she was exhausted and back to doing 6K months because there was no foundation and strategy to back that growth. She did look successful on paper, but felt like drowning behind the scenes, and that's not sustainable. So how do we build strong foundations before we scale or grow? First, I'd like to answer, what does stability actually look like? It means you and your business can breathe. It means you're not constantly launching, hustling, or hoping. And before you scale, here's what you need to have solid. Your pricing and profit margins, your systems, your paycheck, your cash flow. So now I'm going to deep dive into these. So your pricing and profit margins. You need to create a pricing strategy with percentages built into a model. So every time you have an offer or a service, you can plug in the numbers to derive at a place. It will ensure you're profitable all the time, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out. Anything you charge additional is a bonus. So you could even do it as a spreadsheet. You put in the hours it will take you to deliver the service or the offer, what your hourly rate is, any additional expenses you're going to incur as a result of providing that service or offer. Put in your profit margin. If you don't know, then maybe start off with 20% profit. That's the bare minimum you should be charging. And that will give you a price. And that price has everything covered. Anything you charge additional is a bonus. So if it all comes to, $500 and you're like, you know what, I could easily get $650 for it, then do $650. You know that at $650, your profit, your pay, your time, your expenses are covered, and you've got a bonus of $650. And also, if that product or offering goes a little bit over time, you're still not dipping into your profit. So that's how I do it, and that's something you can try. And this system is something I didn't have in place in my own business in the early days too, causing more hours but less in the bank because I used to charge for the time taken and never took profit into account, especially when pricing. And this way, your profit is baked in and not left over. Next one is your systems. Can you consistently deliver without burnout? What you can automate, delegate, and systemize, resulting in less effort and more profit. You also need to ensure you have processes in place and not reinventing the wheel every time, as this will help scale and roll products and services quickly. This is a trap I fall into a lot of the times. Being a bookkeeper and a perfectionist, I'm constantly reinventing a lot of the systems, hoping that it will make it better. But, it's becomes really hard when you're trying to systemize. You create a system, you've created a checklist, it works, staff are working, it's all good. But every time you look at it, you think of an additional step or you think how you can do it better. And that's something I need to stop doing. But it's just the perfectionist in me. But yes, you need to have your systems in place. Next is your paycheck. Are you paying yourself regularly? If not, why scale something that isn't supporting you? You didn't start your business just for profit. If you stepped away and employed someone else to run the business for you, they won't work for free, so why should you? Plus, when looking at profit, you want it to be accurate, reflecting the true value of your business. So if you ever consider selling it, it's appealing and there's no adjustments necessary. Last one is cash flow. Do you have a buffer for slow months? Like any personal life, you should have an emergency fund in business too, so you can ease the pressure on yourself every month. And if life throws a curveball in terms of medical or life emergency that needs your attention, you know your business can support you and give you that time. Also, you could be part of an industry where you do have slow months, so that dip won't affect the money you take home because you have buffers in place for all your accounts. If you're not doing profit first or know about it, then I strongly urge you to check it out or listen to episode 4 or check out our website. All info is in the show notes. And are you setting aside taxes consistently? This is a big one, especially for small businesses, as the ATO tends to be one of your biggest creditors. And if you know you have cash put aside for your tax obligation, it gives you a real peace of mind. So that's those 4 basics covered. Now let's talk about how to measure health, not just hustle of your business. If you want a business that lasts, you need to shift your success metrics. You just stop measuring revenue, follower count, and number of sales calls. You do need to measure them, but you also need to start measuring profit margin, bonus pay, time freedom, client retention, and mental clarity. So here's a question for you. What's the point of hitting 6 figures if you hate your life getting there? Every time you think you'll need to launch, you're dreading because it means sleepless nights, maybe not much cash in the bank because, you're forking out all this money to make this work. So health in your business isn't just cash, it's capacity. So if your ideal client calls tomorrow, you don't have to say no as you're drowning in work already, especially on low value work or clients. Plus, you also need the breathing room to think like a CEO with a clear head. So capacity is very important. So I just thought I'll share my story about the growth that we've gone through in our business. So 12 months in, I was doing 15K months on paper. I know it's not a big number, but for someone that started a business from scratch, it was big. I had a team of 3, myself and 2 part-timers, and we had 50 clients. And I had no idea where the money was going. I was burnt out, anxious, and ready to throw in the towel some days. I was getting client calls at 7 p.m. while I was at the dinner table. I was working weekends to catch up, and deadlines were a nightmare as clients would be sending information at the last minute, and then it was my job to make it happen and make sure everything was lodged on time so they didn't get penalised. It was hard, and hopefully I never get back to that time. So how did I get out of it? I did 3 things. I paused taking all new clients, but I stayed in touch and I explained to them what was happening and what I was doing and when I'd be ready to take them on. That was important and they were happy to wait. And I paused all new expenses for 3 months. I was not committing to anything that cost money. And I did a thorough expense analysis and cut out any expenses that were not contributing to bringing in revenue or saving time. So by doing this exercise of systemizing, training, and delegation as well, I didn't have to do everything myself. So I started delegating and I started putting in my hours of training the team to take on a lot of the work and systemizing, creating checklists, creating templates. So we didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time we had to do something. So by doing this exercise, I cut my expenses by about $2,000 a month. It was brutal, but I had to be. I increased our pricing based on how much time we were spending on clients. I introduced fixed pricing for some of the clients who were consistent and we could predict the time taken to do their work. I introduced direct debit as I wasn't spending time chasing payments. This was a big one because you've done the work, you've sent the invoice, and people are taking their sweet time paying it. It's like, I've got bills to pay, I've got staff to pay, and I was constantly transferring money to make things happen. It's like, no, this shouldn't be the way. I can't grow a business like this. What if I'm doing 50K months? I can't be transferring 50,000 across every month to pay for things. So, everyone direct debit. You pay on the first of the month for that month's work. You know what you're getting and I know what I'm delivering. Sweet. And I said goodbye to some of the smaller clients where the profit margin was low or non-existent and they needed a lot more support, but unfortunately couldn't afford to pay. I had to make the call to either support their business or mine, and I chose mine. And I started paying myself a set amount consistently and not what was left over. And guess what? Now my boring business was running smoother, more profitably, and more peacefully than ever, and it continues to this day. Now, what questions do you need to ask yourself before you launch, scale, or add the next big thing? Am I paying myself right now? If not, why am I scaling a system that doesn't pay the CEO? Full stop. Do I have clean numbers? Do I actually know my revenue, profit, and expenses? If I don't have that clarity, how am I going to measure it with this new addition? Will this move bring peace or pressure? Growth could stretch you, not strangle you. What's the actual goal behind the move? Is it about ego or impact? Survival or sustainability? You need to ask that question. And have I built capacity to deliver what I'm planning? Do I have the systems in place? Do I have the support I need from my team? Do I have the time to commit? And am I even ready? Scaling sometimes unstable only multiplies the stress. So you need to stabilize first, then grow. It's slower, but stronger. So here's your CEO challenge this week. Before chasing your next goal, block out 30 minutes to check your foundations. Ask yourself, am I consistently profitable? Am I paying myself? Are my systems clear? And what does growth look like without burnout? Then ask, what do I need to stabilize before I scale again? Because peaceful, profitable growth isn't just possible, it's what we're building here together. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Money First CEO. If this one gave you that deep breathe moment, share it with another founder who's been stuck in the growth hamster wheel. Tag me on Instagram with your favorite takeaway and let me know what's the one thing you're stabilizing this month. Until next month, chase peace, not pressure. Build stability first.
Thanks for hanging out with me on Money First CEO. If you got value from this episode, hit subscribe, drop a 5-star review, and share it with someone who's building their business too. All the goodies are in the show notes, and you can find me on socials, more tips and tools to help you. Until next time, keep putting money first, and the rest will follow.